everyone is going to experience unhealth in some way.
Yeah.
So you can lie to yourself if you want to, but what I'm telling you, you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to confirm it out loud, but you know within yourself what it felt like.
This is back to your story.
All right. How's it going, man?
All is well.
Dude.
All is well.
I want to say thank you so freaking much for inviting us into your beautiful room. But also, you know, this is the first time meeting you, and you're hopping on our podcast.
Yeah, man, this is cool. This is very organic. We'll see what comes from this. I appreciate you for letting me be here as well. And, of course, our mutual friend, Troy. Troy is the one who connected us. If he co-signed somebody, I'm rocking with it.
I love that, man. I love that. That is, you know, to have a friend like that and trust them, right? Because, like, dude, you, like, once again, you don't know us. We just came here from, you know, Los Angeles, but like at the end of the day, you don't know us, but to have someone that you trust enough to bring people into your, you know, personal sanctuary, right? It shows a lot about his character.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, for people just kind of listening, can you do a brief introduction with yourself?
Yeah, so I am Ron Jones. I've been Big Ron Jones since third grade. So I guess big is more so a state of mind than it is physical presence. Although I guess the presence might match it now. But I am a personal trainer by trade. You know, as far as occupation goes, I graduated college in 2006 and went into personal training before the internet was really kicking off. You know, So I have 15 plus years real world experience. It was dumb luck on my end. About a year or two before COVID kicked off, I happened to transition towards the internet.
Wow.
I learned the internet. So I'm a personal trainer who learned the internet. So thank God, though, my skill set was translatable, if that's a word, to the social media.
Yes.
You know, so it worked out well for me in the sense of I was able to keep my career going, or expanding, I should say, in the midst of where you're always wondering, how do you keep your career going?
Yes.
You know, you can't be that old guy in the gym training at 55 years old. You can be, I guess, but it's hard to have the same marketability to that young audience.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
But I'm still valuable because I have 15 plus years of acquired knowledge and application.
What do you think it is that translates so well from the content that you create and deliver online to the audience, you know, receiving it so well?
I think because as a personal trainer, I never had an actual niche or niche. I was actually training the world. So be it a 75-year-old Jewish woman or a 13-year-old, boy, or a prepubescent 11-year-old girl, I didn't shy away from anyone because health, the whole world can use.
Yes.
But in doing that for so many years, I actually expanded my skill set. As far as it being applicable to the internet and helping so many people out, is I think years of learning people and the cues used to keep people going and motivating them and keeping them locked in, that was just something you couldn't fake. I had to literally do it, you know? So now I'm just basically sitting back and remembering what I said to that woman at this point in her life, what I said to that young girl at that point in her life. I'm just spitting it to the internet in 59-second clips, YouTube sometimes longer than that, you know?
Yeah.
That being said, I want to talk today about Botanic Tonics Feel Free. It's an absolute game changer, guys. For me, anytime I start a podcast or anytime I want to go out, but I don't want that hangover and you just need that social lubricant kind of to take that edge off, this is my go-to choice. It is one of those things that gives me a clean energy boost without the jitters. Once again, a social lift without the hangover and focus enhancement without the crash. Check it out today. You get $40 off plus free shipping when you use the code BTYS. Hit the link in the bio. Let's get back to it.
You know, for you, like looking at your past when you grew up, like because I feel like this is something that is instilled into you as a little kid or somewhere along the way, and then you're able to deliver these types of things. So like, what is it about you? Like, if you look back when you were younger, like, was there, your family, your parents, an uncle who taught you how to, be like this, which is amazing.
Yeah. So if I had to point out something specifically, growing up as a military kid really helped me out a lot. As a military kid, especially living overseas, living abroad, is you had to learn others.
Yes.
So I wasn't, inundated in people just like myself. My best friend is a Filipino kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My first girlfriend could very well be, this white chick or this biracial chick or perhaps a black chick. But whatever it is, though, I still was around multitudes of different people.
Yes.
So you learn to be comfortable in those supposedly uncomfortable settings. So there was no such thing with me when it comes to that uncomfortability.
Yes.
So that really helped out a ton. And the customer service space that I'm in, dealing with humans, right?
Yes.
So that helped out a ton. Another part of that, I think, was the fact that my parents had a playbook that I borrowed from, or I grew up within, I should say. So having an understanding of and it was a pretty easy life that I lived, to be real with you. So things were so great, though, that I had a cheat sheet to play off of. Yeah. I had a father who did the traditional masculine, traditional father things,
Yes.
At the same time, he was a great husband. So I saw how to mimic being a husband by way of him. My mom was a great mother, but also a great wife. So I learned what to expect and how to seek my own wife when that time came. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think me having what I would call an easy street life was really a playbook that God gave me that I could refer to later on.
Yeah.
Now, when I met someone who did not know how to be a good man or a good dad or perhaps a good mother, I knew that I could perhaps give them those tidbits of information to help fill that void. Yeah. I'm not out here teaching the world how to play their role by no means, but I do have a playbook that I refer to. I'm not telling you have to do it my way, but if you come to me and say, hey, Ron, what is this about you? I'm going to tell you what it is. Wow. And you might decide, you know what? I'm going to go with that idea, Ron, and rock with it. So wellness was how I got into people's lives like that. Again, health is something that the whole world can use.
Yes.
So not to ramble on too much here, but I think that was the avenue that I utilized to help people.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%, man. 100%. Growing up for you, was wellness already instilled to you from your family? Did they work out and eat healthy?
Nah, my dad was military, so there's a natural level of, fit to fight standard he had to keep. My mom was in general going to keep us healthy, so she cooked for us.
Yes.
I also grew up in a point in time before this fast food was raising kids. So,
yes.
But it wasn't an intentional active decision being made to do cardio or to strength train or to have enough of what I needed to build muscle. There was no intentional active effort for that. However, I did play sports. And to be real with you, brothers, young black kids, black boys oftentimes, we measure ourselves based on our athletic prowess.
Yes.
Right? So playing sports in 5 years old, 6 years old, 7-year-old was naturally there.
Yeah.
When I got to college, broke my ankle playing basketball, I said, I wanted to do something else. That's when I got into the other discipline of bodybuilding.
Wow.
But it was still being an athlete.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I wasn't intentionally trying to be, healthy. I was having fun simply being an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so strange how life will take you down these twists and turns, right? You did basketball, you broke your ankle, and then you kind of pivoted to this. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that moment when you broke your ankle and you're like, okay, basketball's done. I got to move on to something else?
Yeah, clear as day. When I came down on that ankle and I was on crutches trying to maneuver and get around the campus.
Yeah.
And I realized, man, Valdosta State University, where I went to school at, has a lot of hills. This is a humongous campus to navigate. But anyways, a close friend of mine named Matt Nelson, at that point in time, a new friend of mine, but we went on to be close friends, showed me what he was doing, which was structured strength training, going to the gym. And in my young mind, I was young getting to college. I was 17 getting in there. I turned 18, I think, first semester.
Wow.
When I was in college, I figured, chicks dig muscles, I think.
Yes.
So I decided to start lifting weights along with Matt Nelson. I couldn't play basketball, so I started lifting weights along with him. And in my head, those 3 or 4 months, I had all the muscles in the world. So my why initially here was, as it would be for most 18-year-old college boys, to get chicks.
Hell yeah.
And that drove me, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That first spring break came around, that spring semester, and I went on spring break to Panama City, and man, you couldn't tell me nothing in my head. But it was enough to keep me going. Reality or not, it was enough. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And then, of course, that why changes with time. But that was my initial why. That's also why I accept everyone's why. Because what may bring you into this might not be what sustains you, but it got you there now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's going to change. That's how life works, I think.
Yes.
Our whys constantly change. And if you're not willing to open your mind to having your why change, or for it perhaps to disappear and you find something else, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Because what gets you going at 18 might not get you going at 28
Not at all. Absolutely.
or at 38, you know?
100%. Your why is definitely constantly changing. I mean, I just look at my own life and it's change. But it's the individuals that can see that for what it is and understand this is life, right? And we're going to pivot and life is going to take you down these twists and turns. But, you know, for you having a good head on your shoulders and really respecting that, and then even just being honest, like, yeah, I mean, when you're younger, you want to work out because of the chicks, right? Like, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
When did this start to pivot for you where it was like, well, I can turn this into something more than just getting chicks?
So when I was doing this to get chicks, and then I looked up and realized that when I watched my friend do an exercise or any stranger in the gym doing an exercise, it spoke to me. It made natural sense. My oldest sister, can open a math book. You know those first few pages, they show you the formulas and what to do?
Yes.
She reads those numbers like it reads in a textbook to me and you.
Wow.
It makes sense to her. Math just makes sense to her. Kinesiology, the body in motion, just made sense looking at it.
Wow.
Remember when we were in school and you had that kid in the front of the classroom, you looked at his paper and he was doodling? It was a stick and a triangle.
Of course.
You know, and a random square. You looked up and watched the lesson go forward. You look back down in 30 minutes, it was a full landscape.
100%.
He saw something and it kept going forward, right? That's how his eyes were adept to doing what he did, his skill set in the arts of doodling or drawing. The same thing when it comes to someone who truly understands, I believe, human in motion.
Yeah.
Kinesiology, the body in motion. It just made sense to me.
Yes.
So I kept going forth with it. And then, of course, back then we didn't have, not of course, but back then, as a reminder, we didn't have the internet at our fingertips. So I had magazines. Watching bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler, I saw these guys become mountainous celebrities.
Yes.
You know, and it wasn't because they were embraced by the world, it's because their artwork was undeniable. You see a man who invests that much time into himself, it's clear.
Yeah.
Someone, not to knock any other arts, but if someone is a watercolor painter or someone uses stencil or clay or something, you don't know if this person is good at what they do or not until they have an exhibit and show you.
Of course.
You don't walk around with your easel saying, hey guys, look, I'm an artist.
Correct.
Bodybuilding is a little different though.
It is.
You walk around and your artistry is on constant display.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So no matter what, you could see this guy's artistry. His medium was his flesh. Unlike some people, it's charcoal.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he's still an artist.
Yes.
I'm rambling on because those guys
That's
were
great.
great heroes to me. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
And that's what made sense to me. But it's not popular back then. There was no social network or an algorithm telling me that other people are doing the same thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
There was nothing telling me that. All I had was the magazines. And I literally said to myself, these are my new peers. So I had Flex magazine, I had Muscle and Fitness magazine, and these guys are who the guys I looked at on a constant basis as being the guys who I wanted to be like, or my buddies.
Yeah.
You know? So that's how that part went going forward. And then, of course, you got VHSs and DVDs.
So
Before they
good.
had the quick
Yes.
brevity version of YouTube or 5-second clips on reels of Instagram or Facebook, we had those magazines and those VHSs and those ultimate DVDs to watch. They weren't even edited.
No.
It was just a straight 2-hour video of this guy living his life. You know what I mean? That was hilarious. But anyways, at that point, watching the body in motion, applying it to myself, seeing that it actually was working, my friends were responding to it. Yo, what are you doing, bro? Wow. You know, that looks good. So I would help them out, right?
Okay.
I would help these guys out. So, okay, now they're following along with me. At this point in time, I'm 3 years into college. I can't change my degree again. So I finished out my criminal justice degree. I was so lost at times, I have 2 degrees actually. I ended up with a minor in sociology, just taking that much class, you know what I mean? So I ended up graduating, and my first client was a physician named Jody Summers. Training with her, and then her boss, a physician named Steve Wilson, gifted me to his wife, Patty Wilson.
Wow.
Now I'm training in this golf community, and this other woman, homemaker, saw, oh, this guy's training Patty Wilson. He must know how to train, and he could perhaps help me out. And that's how I constantly picked up more and more clients.
Wow.
You know, so
Yes.
I was first steeped in bodybuilding, my first love. But as far as skill set goes, it was really homemakers.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we're best friends to this day. We're best friends. So it was pretty cool. So yeah, that was that changing point, I should say. So I learned to parlay what I loved into an actual skill set that could feed me.
I mean, that's absolutely incredible, man. And how old were you at this time?
I was graduating, let's just say 22, 23.
So 22, 23 years old, you're starting to train people.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is? Like we in America right now, we have like such a big issue. Is it the fast food? Is it it's just people there more and more people are starting to realize you have to take care of yourself, but like there is more than half, right, that don't. And there's like this disconnect because like we know that our life is a blink of a fucking eye, man.
Yeah.
It's a blink of an eye. And if you don't take good care of your body, either it's going to end early, or it's going to, the last 10 years of your life is going to be a steep, a gradual decline instead of like you make it to 89, and then 90 you die, right? It's like, that's what we would all hope. But in America, we just have this big issue where it's like a huge disconnect. And why do you think that is?
Because I think the human body can't be hacked.
Yeah.
Everything in life can be hacked. We at one point in time were going from the East Coast to the West Coast on an Oregon Trail, on a freaking cart wagon. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Wooden wheels. We're crossing the country.
Yes.
But over time, let's fast forward this. We had the automation of rubber wrapped around these tires with air inside of them.
Yeah.
We're moving a little bit faster from East Coast to West Coast.
Yes.
We have the locomotive comes into place. We're moving a little bit faster, actually much faster from East Coast to West Coast. Just as a quick example of how things get better for us.
Yes.
So in America, everything is improved and is made easier for us.
Yeah.
The human body, however, is not like that.
No.
The way we were first created, how we first were built, it's going to always function the same way. There is no hack to it. We find ways of making it a little easier, perhaps, but the same root and potatoes is still going to be there. Steak and potatoes is still there,
Yes.
You can't get around that. The human body needs protein to build and grow and sustain muscle mass.
Yes.
Can't get around it.
No.
Which means you got to constantly somehow source good quality protein for your human body.
Yes.
You can't just sit back and wait all day and then randomly here take a pill to get that protein.
Definitely not.
You got to manually do it the same way caveman did.
Yes.
If it's a mastodon you chase down, or if you're going to Publix and you're getting some beef out of the water, out of the cooler there.
Yes.
We had to have farming to get potatoes and rice, right?
Yes,
Back in the day. Now we don't have to actually, live in an agrarian society to get carbs, but we still have to go get carbs.
Yeah.
In Publix. You still have to manually cook and feed yourself.
Yeah.
There is no hack to it. So I'm not getting down on us in America, but we're just used to things being made easier.
Yeah.
And we sometimes end up being lazier because of it.
Yes.
One thing you cannot be lazy on is health, though.
No.
You get what I'm saying? It's
No.
not going to change. We can't hack it.
No.
You've got to do the same things they did well before we were in the current times we're in now.
Absolutely.
The advent of the internet or not.
100%. I mean, people don't realize that, yes, the human civilization has progressed very far, but on a physical level, we are the same people that we have been since the
people.
fucking cavemen, man.
Absolutely.
And that is straight facts. And so we need to take good care of our body, and we need to do these things that, unfortunately, like I said, like people aren't. For you, it came easy. Like it was just like, okay,
Well, it didn't come easy, but don't forget my why was driving me.
Yeah.
I was wanting to get chicks.
Yes.
So I'll go through hell and high water to get this protein.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money I have now for meal prep companies. Better yet, I didn't have the money I had now for boneless, skinless chicken breasts.
Yeah.
I didn't have these things, right? But I wanted those muscles so bad to get these chicks so bad, I still made a way. I used leg quarters.
Wow.
That's that thigh with the leg attached to it.
Yeah.
And we grilled that for our protein source.
Wow.
Not the highest end of protein source, but it's a great protein source for my pockets and where I was at as a broke college kid.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So my why, or what I was chasing, kept me moving. So it didn't come easy, but what I wanted, you figured it out.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
things you want in life, you're going to figure it out.
Absolutely.
I wish health could be that way. The unfortunate thing, though, is most people come to health as a reactive thing.
Yeah.
So once your health fails you, then you got a why.
Absolutely.
Why? Because I don't want to die.
100%.
That's a pretty dismal reason to come into health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think a lot of us saw that when the big C hit us.
Absolutely.
And we realized, the metabolically unhealthy are being culled from the herd.
Absolutely.
It was a disease it was a virus of the metabolically unhealthy. If you
Absolutely.
weren't fit, you were definitely going to have a challenge.
Yes.
You know, and some people took it serious.
Yeah.
Some didn't.
100%.
You know what I mean? Of course, there's a lot more ins and outs and details to that, but ultimately, when it boils down to it, it's the same thing we said a moment ago. when it comes to humanity. If you're not fit for the fight, Earth is going to shake you off of it.
Absolutely.
Be it the bubonic plague or any other plague throughout history. If you're not ready for it, hey, makes sense?
Absolutely, 100%. It is absolutely crazy because, I mean, we live in a society where they want to give you a pill for, everything. Everything. And I say this to the people listen, they already know this, but like I have multiple sclerosis, right?
Okay.
And I know plenty of people, plenty of stories, right, where they took the westernized philosophy and got on the medication, right? And even, for instance, right, my wife's friend, she has MS. She got on the medication. A week later, she's wheelchair bound.
Come on, man.
For me, I was like, there is no possible way that I am not going to try everything else before I would ever go down that route. And it's just because if you can, like Dr. Terry Walls, she has stage 2 progressive MS. She was wheelchair bound. And through restructuring her diet, cold therapy, heat therapy, all these things, she went from wheelchair bound to now riding a bike 10 miles to work and 10 miles home, right? And it's like, we have to look, yes, westernized stuff, there's some stuff that I believe in, right?
Call for it.
If it calls for, but there is all these other things that we can do before we get to that point. And that is what we need to start to understand as a society, is we don't need to always take this magic pill to make us feel better. Why not just start eating clean, working out, just simple things that we can all do, and you'll see a huge change. Doesn't matter if you have an autoimmune disease or not, right? And that's like your story, like that is so important because you have that philosophy, right? Sharing it with other people, is it a challenge when people, take it negatively?
When they take what part negative?
Well, just your overall philosophy.
Everyone is going to experience unhealth in some way.
Yeah.
So you can lie to yourself if you want to, but what I'm telling you, you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to confirm it out loud, but you know within yourself what it felt like.
Yes.
Someone with high blood pressure, they don't have to raise their hand and say they had it. But trust me, when I speak about it, they understand.
Yes.
That man says it sucked when he went to that bedroom and wanted to make love to his wife and looked down and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
He felt lesser than.
Yes.
And he said, you know what, man, this high blood pressure ain't going to work for me. He may not say it to his buddies, to his friends, or to his wife, but that probably got him going.
Yeah.
To get his BP in check.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Or a woman who perhaps wanted to bring a life to full term, but couldn't because of her metabolic unhealth. There's multiple reasons why some women can't, don't get me wrong. But for those who perhaps were trying to facilitate an environment, foster an environment to bring a child to full birth, full term, if her health wasn't in place, she felt that grief within herself as to why she felt like she kept failing.
Yes.
She might not ever admit it out loud, but she knows I've got to get my health in order or I'm going to feel that same pain again if I try it.
Yes.
That pain of not bringing that child forth. Don't get me wrong, it's not the only reason why women don't have bring children to full gestation. But as you said a moment ago, if you have the inkling or a glimmer of hope on what you could possibly do to control or improve your situation, you're going to oftentimes seize it and run with it because that was your why.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? That was your why. So people can gaslight themselves all day about why they perhaps don't want to take this health thing serious. But when they get introspective or close their eyes at night, it hits them. And
Absolutely.
they know personally that if they don't do it, they're the ones that's going to suffer and lose.
Yeah.
They're
just lying to themselves. I feel like it's like a facade, and it's unfortunate because, there are plenty of people out there that are facing real issues and they could simply change their diet, be healthy, and things would freaking change, man. Things would change. And it's I know one person that has some heart issues, and it's just like you get that diagnosis and it's just like instead of changing, right, you just continue down the same path, and it's just like I don't know, it's mind-boggling to me.
And I think that's why my content when I came to internet, why it was shifting in a certain direction, and it's shifting that way even more right now, is that someone who is a bodybuilder, they are near to me because we do the same thing. We love our flesh. It is our artistry. I understand that and know why he does it.
Yes.
I understand that. However, the world of health and wellness, because it's become a business, a serious, expensive, money churning business. So there's tons of sharks out there.
Yeah.
Are preying on others, be it selling a product or selling a philosophy. Whatever it is, they're preying on people who want what everyone wants.
Yeah.
This is their health and
Absolutely.
wellness. So seeing that, and me being experienced enough to see the obvious, what the heck's,
Yes.
my content has me shifting, trying to dispel that. I'm not a myth buster by no means, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to empower my people with education.
Yeah.
So now you make your own decision. So I didn't tell you to go do these 12 to 15 reps. I just told you for my success of my clients, 12 to 15 was the great rep range.
Wow.
Or I told you, you know what? Someone said that dark meat was no good for you. Well, truthfully, it's perfectly fine for you. It has additional iron, if anything, so it's perfectly fine. Why is the meat dark? Well, that's because the chicken walks around on its legs. There's more blood vessels there. That's why it's dark. Why is the breast so white? A chicken don't walk around fly, chickens don't fly, do they?
No.
That's why that wing and that breast is still white. There's no bunch of blood flow there. So with that being said, make your decision on what you're going to do when you go to the grocery store. Do you have to keep trying to buy that breast only?
No.
Now you feel empowered. I can actually buy the dark meat.
Yes.
I stand a chance now at getting my health, and my pockets will let me do that.
Yes.
Ron didn't tell you to do it. I just gave you the free game, the education, and you made your own decision. It's also empowering. In a world where you don't control much, your taxes, your spouse, your children, it's great to control something.
Yes.
And when it comes to your health, you can control a good bit of that.
Yes, you can.
So at least giving you something to control, especially because the ROI is so great. The return on investment
Huge.
is so great and so apparent.
Yeah.
You give a little bit and it gives you a lot.
Yes.
You give a little more, it gives you even more.
Yes.
I want to make sure everyone knows the ROI is proper. I don't want them to invest, however, in the wrong thing, because then you're turned off from health.
Yeah.
Because you were told that to get this, you should invest in this method. So you invest in this method, and lo and behold, for the last month, 2 months, dare I say year, you were spinning your wheels.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Absolutely. I mean, it's so crazy with the internet. There's so much content out there. And, for the everyday person at home, it's like, how do they decipher between what is good health content, right? Wellness content, and what is bad wellness content?
Keeping it basic. So everyone, I try to explain that you keep it simple as possible. This is why you hear Ron Jones constantly referring to 3 keys: cardio, strength training, and recovery. Recovery is your meal plan and your sleeping.
Yeah.
So keeping it basic, I want you to focus on just these 3 things. On Monday, starting the business week, I want you to make sure by the end of that week, no stone was left unturned. All your major muscles have been touched a few times, or at least one good time.
Yes.
That's your musculoskeletal system.
Yes.
Now you have your cardiovascular system. Whatever you do, somehow elevate your heart rate for a moment. Be it outdoors on a walk outside, be it on a treadmill, be it on a stationary cycle, your bike, jumping up and down. Your body doesn't know what you're doing. All it knows is that the heart is being called upon to pump, 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 pump more.
Yeah.
So find what fits you best. It might be Zumba. It could be water aerobics. Whatever it is, you make your own decision.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thirdly, let's recover this body. So take in more of what you know you need. So before I remove these things from your life, before I tell you no, 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 I'm going to tell you to make sure you do. Make sure you do these things.
Yes.
So do get more protein on a regular basis.
Yes.
Do get more complex, or do get more carbs on a regular basis, the preferred fuel source
Yeah.
of the human body. Do get more phytonutrients. That's what we'll start with first. And then from there, you'll complicate your algorithm as you go forward. So now you're going to start doing things like take away sodas.
Yes.
Now you'll do things like perhaps try different methods to training your muscles,
Yeah.
different ways of training your cardio. But my first thing is to make sure you understand those 3 basic tenets.
Yes.
Now you're in control of something, and that will yield tremendous results for 99.9% of the population.
Definitely.
Keeping it simple.
Absolutely. You said you talked about sleep and recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being a kid and hearing like Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, talking about like I'll sleep when I'm dead, right? And I only sleep 4 hours a day. Why is sleep so important?
Because that's when the human body does what it's supposed to do. So the central part of your body, your CNS, your central nervous system, is set off by your brain.
Yeah.
Everything starts there. Your brain has to have a moment to compute, to really process what happens. We got 5 senses. If you're on that Bruce Willis movie, you had 6,
Yes,
right? You
yes.
see ghosts. But we typical people have 5 senses, right? Between us touching, tasting, smelling, hearing, seeing. But constantly here, we're taking in data.
Yes.
Right now, I can visually see you. Occasionally here, I smell your hair gel. Occasionally here, I smell something outside.
Yes.
But I'm constantly taking in these things through these sensories. My brain is actually the hub that's taking it in. When I go to sleep at nighttime, my brain is going to take all the information that brought in over the whole day and compartmentalize it. It's going to process it and place it where it belongs. Okay?
Yeah.
That saturated sponge that sucked up so much throughout the day is now ringing itself by processing what the senses had. The next day you wake up, the brain is now ready to work and absorb again because it had the ample time it needed. And we know in general it's going to be about 6.5 or more hours to get this process done properly.
Yes.
That's just for the brain, the central nervous system to work properly. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And of course, now if you entertain things like your muscles, the muscles also need downtime to recover.
Yes.
This is why sleep is so important. This is why the creatives, those who really run and change our worlds, do not skimp on sleep.
No.
Elon Musk does not play about that sleep. He gets that sleep. His brain has to have that sleep.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like him or not, this guy is someone who's changed our life.
Fuck yes, man.
Some say for good, some say for bad, but he definitely was
Shut up.
impactful as a creative. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
This guy does not play with that.
No.
So if certain people in our world don't play about certain things, perhaps you should take a page out of their book.
Yes.
And take it serious also.
Absolutely.
Sleep 101.
Absolutely.
I don't know why people think being sleepy is, I don't know why people think, being without sleep is going to make you rich.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's like such a dumb idea. And I used to think that when I was younger too. Like it's kind of crazy. But now obviously I know how important it is. And yeah, all these creatives, tech CEOs, they totally understand that, right? Because you got like Andrew Huberman and like all these other people spouting, the importance of sleep. What about stretching? Like,
very much important as well, right? Because like I told you earlier, that first key, that first tenet or second one was your musculoskeletal system.
Yeah.
Right? Musculoskeletal. That's the muscles as they tie into the actual bones. The muscles innervate. They move that skeleton, right?
Yeah.
But they attach. They attach by way of connective tissues and tendon.
Yeah.
You want to keep that stuff pliable, malleable. If you don't, it gets tight.
Yeah.
And now the insertion point is where you're compromised at.
Yeah.
So you're 100% right. Stretching helps. Yeah. Also, that muscle needs to have stretching. It allows it allows oxygen. It allows nutrient-rich blood to get in. It also carries out metabolic waste.
Wow.
The lactic acid, that ammonia that built up when you're training, it carries it out as well as shuttles in the good stuff, right?
Damn.
If you don't get this part going, you're compromising yourself.
Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for some pretty serious failure, or you're not reaping the full benefit of what your efforts are. Take a wet towel. You just got done with your bath. You throw that towel into the corner, let it sit there and dry. The next day you come back to that towel, you undo it, it's wrinkled.
Yes.
Not looking very good, is it?
No.
Take that same wet towel after your shower, however, and drape it over the door. It's nice and flat. It's smooth. It looks better. It works better.
Yes.
Your muscles are virtually the same way.
Wow, that's
You
a good
gotta
analogy.
get that stuff going. You know what I mean?
Yes. Why? I mean, I don't want to dive too deep on this, but like,
No,
it's
good.
like, why do people? I don't know. I just tend to skip that so much, right? It's like it's weird.
I think we don't see the ramifications or consequences of it fast enough.
Yeah.
This is why smokers smoke, because you don't see the consequences of it until the latter half of your life.
Yes.
But if you could actually see a timer, there's a movie, I forget what the movie was called, it's like Loopers or something. You can see your time.
Yeah.
If you could actually see, okay, I got exactly 146,000 hours left.
Yeah.
Right? And then you smoke these cigarettes and it said, doop, you drop down to 126,000. You might think twice about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
not just smoking, but that's just an obvious thing to poke at.
No.
But different types of behaviors that we know aren't going to help us live longer.
Absolutely.
Or perhaps let's just say your quality of life. If your quality of life was set to be on a 10, you would do all that you could to leave it at a 10.
Yeah.
If you could actually see immediately what your unhealth was doing and it lowered your quality of life to an 8, you cut it out.
Yeah.
Because you want the quality of life to go back to a 10.
100%.
But because you don't see the immediate consequences of not doing these things,
Yes.
it's easier to forget them, skip them, or just downplay and dismiss them.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so easy. It's literally so easy for so many people, right? Because you don't see that the instant reward, right? And like you said, if people, wow, that'd be crazy. If you could see how much time you have left, would you want to see that?
I personally don't think I would.
I don't think so.
I don't think I would. I don't really think I would. It'd change. No, I don't think I actually would.
It's like 10. You got 10 hours. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, what do I do with this 10? Live like a lion, or what do I do? Do
Yeah.
I try and preserve this, or no? I don't. That's a really good question. I don't think I would really want to see that. But if I could see my quality of life improving,
Yes,
I would.
absolutely.
And that's why I'm so big on people understanding that much.
Yes.
Is you could be set to live 89 years. That's great.
Yes.
But is it an 89 quality years? You know, and the medicalization model, whereby we're medicalizing everything, we're making you, we're extending your life, but we're not really increasing your quality of life.
That's exactly it.
So you got high blood pressure, and I'm giving you a pill to lower this high blood pressure. But this pill isn't increasing your quality of life in the meantime.
No.
You get what I'm saying? So if anything,
Absolutely.
the way I see medication, pharmaceuticals, is it's a gift from God. It says, okay, you're about to stroke out, but I'll give you a pill. This pill's going to buy you some time to get yourself together.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
use this pill to lower your blood pressure while you try and manually lower your blood pressure on your own. The same way you did with your MS. If you had to have used this MS medication to help you out, you were still going to do what you had to do in the meantime.
Yeah.
So as you can come off of this pill, because this pill is also causing other complications in your life that will ultimately lower your quality of life.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
100%, man. 100%.
But again, when you medicalize too much, people begin to just lean upon the answer. And that's not the answer.
Definitely not, man. Definitely not. And that was like my philosophy. I was like, I'm just gonna try to do this without it. And I have good days. I got bad days. I've got good weeks, bad weeks. But I mean, it is what it is, and I continue to push forward. For you, kind of to bring it back to your story, though, is like when you started getting people on, I don't want to say your roster, but like customers, right?
Roster.
Were you working at a gym? Would you go to their house? How did you start to build that?
My initial philosophy in the gym, when I became a personal trainer full-time after graduation, my philosophy was to make you comfortable with me.
Okay.
So I had to be, in my head, I literally said this. I wanted to be as commonplace to your world as that treadmill is. Every time you walk into this Anytime Fitness, that treadmill is in the same exact place. I wanted to be the same way. So if you needed a trainer or not, you knew that Ron was there.
Wow.
So if you did need a trainer, you know where one is at.
Yeah.
So I found myself making myself a pillar in that gym, just being there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Training my clients when it was time, but still being there. That was my my initial philosophy. I lost the question for a second.
No, it's all good.
Jesus, what was the question?
It's I you know what? I kind of forgot. Either way, right? I think. Do you remember the question? Oh yeah. Thank
Exactly. So yes, I was actually in the gym.
Okay.
I was in an actual brick and mortar Anytime Fitness is where I was at. Actually physically in the gym training clients. And then of course I went to another, not of course, but as I told you earlier in the story, I ended up in a golf community not too far from where I lived called Kinderloo. It was a golf community, and had their own little gym there. So I was training a lot of homemakers there.
Wow.
So between there and the main gym of Anytime Fitness, I was there constantly here. If you fast forward a decade and a half to just before COVID, what happened was actually I was designing a program that would allow you to work out from home,
Okay.
only needing dumbbells and resistance bands.
There we go.
It just so happened, like I told you, that's why I said the word dumb luck earlier,
Yes.
that when COVID put us all into our own homes, voila, I happen to have a product that's going to help out.
Wow.
So it actually springboarded what I was doing.
Yeah.
And the internet, now everyone was there. I mean, you had DJs doing live DJ sets.
Yes, you did.
You had people just there. You had this show that was Swiss Beats and Timberland, I think it was.
I think so.
Came together and had a show called, or an internet show called Versus.
Yeah.
So you had rappers versus
yeah.
rappers, you know what I mean? But everyone's
yeah.
in their own home, battling it out, right?
Yes.
So innovation came from that, right? So by me having that program in place, it really helped me. Now, what I did to keep the program going was I wanted to let the world know that, hey, Ron Jones is the official trainer you should be listening to.
Yeah.
So I started giving away free information. So every day I was flooding the internet with free information to help you out,
Yeah.
giving free content away, things to help you out. That way you knew that Ron Jones really knows his stuff.
Yes.
And then you say, well, what else do you have?
Yeah.
Here goes the program to purchase.
Yes.
So that's how I accidentally became a content creator, is I was actually creating content to sell or market my skill set as a personal trainer with an online program.
Yes.
That ability to translate that information ended up growing its own legs, and my platforms began to grow. That's why the Instagram is 300 plus. That's why the TikTok is at like 1.2 million. The Facebook page is over 1 million.
That's crazy.
You know, all
man.
these platforms are growing, right? But I was doing that trying to show that I was the official. It just so happened that this is actually called content creator.
Yes. Yes.
From there, larger organizations and industries, companies said, hey, you got a platform and an audience. Try this product out. If you like it, let your people know.
Yeah.
Here goes the contract that comes behind it. That's also why I'm so tight on who I deal with.
Yes.
Because I do know I built an ecosystem, a community of people who trusted what I was saying. And I would be dead wrong, in my opinion, to have their trust as to why they're here with me.
Yeah.
But then I misuse their trust to sell something for myself only.
Yes.
So yes, I'm going to tell you that Alpha Lion is a great product because I truly believe in Alpha Lion.
Yes.
But I won't tell you that this product over here is great if I don't truly believe in it.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it seems to me like you would really want to trust someone like myself when I sell you a product, because if you trust me, you kind of want me to vet those waters first, don't you?
Absolutely.
If I was going to go out here and buy a plane, I don't want to go kick the wheels.
No.
I want a pilot to check it out.
Absolutely.
Right? If I was going to try a health and fitness product, I want my guy who knows health and fitness to try the product out first.
Absolutely.
And tell me, hey, Ron, is this good or not?
Yeah.
So if Ron says this is a good product, then go with the professional. You trust him already.
Absolutely. And you want him jacked. In great shape, right? Troy and I were talking about that in the podcast. It's like freaking, there's some companies out there, I'm not going to say names, but it's like the founders is definitely not in good shape. And it's like, it just makes no freaking sense. It's like heart doctors that are overweight. Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
I get it.
It's a hard sell.
It's like weird, very, very weird. But for you, did you ever think that, like when you started making content, like what did you think was going to happen?
I really thought I was just going to truly put content out to help push the Ron Jones training program.
Damn.
And I did not realize that I would be so well received by so many.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing for me to be out and about and a 13-year-old recognize me. Hey, what's up? Big Ron Jones. Hey, what's going on, man? It's cool because I know this 13-year-old is embracing me for a reason.
Yes.
I only do health and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
So if he knows me, he's probably listening to health and wellness,
Absolutely.
which speaks volumes to me. Because that means this 13-year-old kid has already bit into something that's great for him.
Absolutely.
And I've seen what a 13-year-old kid can do without self-esteem.
Yes.
I've seen what a 13-year-old girl can do out here looking for belonging and love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen some bad mistakes made. At the same time, though, I've seen great decisions made because you had health and wellness.
Yeah.
So this girl who was trying to find someone to like her isn't opening her legs to do that.
No.
Because she has a sense of self-worth.
Yes.
She has a community to belong to, this gym community, this health and wellness community. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This boy's making better decisions because of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've seen what it can do for a 13-year-old. So when this 13-year-old says, hey, Ron, what's up? That makes me smile.
Yeah.
At the same time, he hands his phone to his mom, who recognizes me also. And she's 43 years old.
Wow.
I've seen what health and wellness can do for a perimenopausal woman.
Yes.
I've seen what health and wellness can do for a homemaker
Yeah.
or a professional woman. I've seen what it can do.
Yeah.
And it makes me smile to know that the content is being well received across the board.
Yeah.
Because as I said earlier, health and wellness is something that the whole world can use.
Definitely.
There isn't anything out there I can think of right now that the whole world, and I've thought about it a few times, I can't think of one thing that the whole world can buy from one person.
No.
A barber is kind of niched.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And some people are bald, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some girls don't get cuts because they don't go to a barber, right?
Absolutely.
A physician is still limited to certain scope of practice.
Absolutely.
A cancer doctor, you have to have cancer to see him.
Absolutely.
An OB, you got to have a vagina.
Yes.
Like it's so much that's so niched. But health and wellness is the whole world, from India to Pakistan to Saudi Arabia to Alaska.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, and that's got to be such like an incredible feeling for you to see that you have put this work out, right? You continue to share it, and then it's well received by so many different types of people, right? When that started happening to you, was it like a weird situation, or did it feel good?
It still throws me off now a lot because for someone to just yell my name out,
Yeah.
I look up to see who it is. And now I'm in my head trying to figure out, how do I know this person?
Yeah.
Someone from college? someone from, my home gym, someone from my home,
Yeah.
my son's school teacher. I don't know who this is.
Yes.
So that threw me off at first. Definitely threw me off. But I've embraced it. My family, they're cool with it all, so my kids think it's cool as well.
Yeah,
So that's cool to me for sure. One thing I will, though, tell you about that really threw me off the most was the internet. Because seeing people in real life, things are different.
Absolutely.
A man sees a man he does not like, he doesn't let it be known.
Absolutely.
Not face to face at least, because he knows the consequences of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So he respects you, or he chooses his words a little more calculated.
100%.
The internet is different.
Very much so.
Because the internet, there is no hierarchy of male authority. So that guy who typically wouldn't speak to you in that manner in the real world, he'll do it real fast on the internet.
Yes, he will.
Me being much like you, a classic man of age, I know that I might end up seeing this person in the real world.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say certain things because I might turn the corner and voila, there goes user 4469 with a big punch to my face. So I treat the internet like I do the real world.
Yes.
But some people don't see it that way.
I don't understand it.
I said all that to say that people actually truly have bad things to say.
Yeah.
And bad ways that they don't care about communicating it.
Yeah.
And that throws me off because I'm just not used to humans dealing with me that way.
Yeah.
It's not common, but it stands out.
Of
Of
course.
1,000 comments, those 10 will blare.
Yeah.
So I'm learning right now how to look past and be okay with that. Because I'm used to not seeing or dealing with
Of
that.
course.
Does that make sense?
100%.
So that's a constant learning thing.
100%. I mean, people on the internet will say the most fucked up things, but they will not say it in person. Just no freaking way.
Mm-hmm.
How are you dealing with that? I mean, because like you just said, 1,000 comments, 10 of them are racial slurs, this, that, and the other.
Wild stuff.
Wild shit. How do you deal with it?
Remembering to take a break
Yeah.
and literally step away from it, and not wanting to respond right there, although I do, because I'm known to be in my comments. So I'm there thanking and appreciating, and I do intentionally try and keep my environment clean.
Yeah.
People say, oh man, you shouldn't delete comments or you shouldn't block people. I will have a block party on you in a minute.
Okay.
I would delete a comment in a second because I need this forum to remain clean.
Yes.
This forum, much like your sanctuary, this forum, much like your gym, is where you go for refuge.
Yes.
And if you're coming to Ron's forum to hear about why you should probably drink more water, I don't want it to be riddled with someone fighting about alkaline water being bad versus this other water.
Yes.
Or spring water being worse versus distilled water. And there's a big argument going on. I don't want that to be in the space.
No.
Not to mention, this is my work. This is my office.
Yes.
I'm in my comments answering and helping people out. How would you feel if you were sitting in your office and someone came in and started graffitiing on the walls? You'd kick him out, wouldn't you?
Kick him out.
You can't come back in here.
Yeah.
The same thing when it comes to my forum. Does it help my algorithm? It doesn't help. Someone fighting, going back and forth, it helps you
For sure.
because it's got interaction.
Absolutely.
But I don't want that kind of interaction if it gets in the way of my mission.
Absolutely.
So I want you to come here and walk out feeling good. I got to protect this space.
I respect that, man. Like, it is your space. It is your forum. You can do whatever the fuck you want, man. And if you don't want that, get the heck out of here, right? And that is absolutely. And I just respect the honesty on it, right? Do people give you crap for doing that?
Heck yeah. They'll pop up in other forums. I will block you on a Facebook and you'll pop up in my Instagram DM.
What the heck?
Bro, did you really just block me because of such and such? I'm not sure why I blocked you. I blocked you for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I don't like how you came across on somebody else, if you bullied someone else, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
If you don't choose your words properly, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to you and you have something to say, that's great. I embrace debate. You cannot be in academia and not embrace debate.
Yes.
So I do embrace debate. But what you won't do is cross into disrespectful lines.
Yes.
There's no debate stage where F-bombs are dropped in
Yes.
the midst of an actual argument being made.
Absolutely.
But if you decide you want to go there, okay, we got to go.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying you can't curse by no means, but you know what happens when you use these words in certain contexts. Because if I was face-to-face with you right now and you said, man, Jordan 11s aren't better than Jordan 12s, you out of your effing mind, bro. Get the F out of here. You wouldn't say that in person, would you?
No.
Because you know that's not the best way to communicate your opinion on Jordan 11 versus the other Jordans.
Yeah.
However, on the internet, that's how they come at it.
Yes.
If that's the kind of person that you are, let me go ahead and nip this in the bud.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yes.
I've learned to Miss Lola Moore, close client of mine, I could refer to so many clients, but Miss Lola Moore gave me a phrase, and she said, sometimes, Ron, when you see ignorance, you leave it like you found it.
Wow.
Which means instead of blessing you with the education and knowledge, I remove myself and leave you ignorant as I found you.
Absolutely.
And I know I have a skill set that could definitely help you out.
Yeah.
So denying you my presence is my punishment to you.
I love that.
And it really bothers you that I did that.
Yeah.
I removed myself from your presence, and it bothered the heck out of you. Well, perhaps next time you think twice about it and you deal with someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, that's reality, man. That is absolutely reality. And the things that we say and the way that we treat people, it doesn't matter if it's on the internet, in real life, like that, those things hurt, man. Like they really do hurt. And at the end of the day, you have the right to do whatever you want with your channel. Mm-hmm. You have the right to do whatever you want with your channel. When you first started, right, posting, right? When was this around?
I was using my social networks as truly social. Hanging out, talking to mom, talking to my friends.
Yeah.
When I started to switch to more of a business aspect of it, it was probably, COVID was 2019.
2020. Yeah.
It became more so about the 18, 19, where it shifted to being me about intentional. I was much more intentional with my postings at about 18, 19.
And from that point, when did you start to see some real progress? Was it slow? Was it fast?
It was catching, and it kept getting more and more progression. So the Instagram forum is where I was heaviest the most.
Yeah.
And then I ended up creating a filming funnel, how I shoot content. And my shooters who I was dealing with, we had a great content, or excuse me, a funnel we shoot out of. They were great with their technical know-how, the audio and the visuals, and I showed up with my bullets that I wanted to speak about.
Wow.
So I would show up and just start throwing it out there. But as time went on, people began to recognize, hey, this guy has something good to say.
Yeah.
And a snowball effect, it began to pick up, you know?
Yes.
So without the actual algorithm putting me in front of you randomly here, a simple share helped me out the most.
Yeah.
So versus you just put me out there and this video go viral, a personal trainer said, man, I say that to my clients all the time, but you said it that brief in 59 seconds. I'm gonna start using this for now myself. And they post it and they reshare it. I think that was the key to the successful growth of my networks, especially the way TikTok worked and especially how Facebook worked.
Looking back at everything that's, going on, how does it make you feel where you're at in your life today?
Great. Great, because the circles around me are changing in a positive sense, not because people are leaving the circle, but people are coming into the circle.
Yeah.
And they're adding so much value to me, but they're doing so because they see value in me to their life.
Yes.
Relationships, from a scientific standpoint, they're parasitic, they're mutual. There's a host, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like all my relationships to be mutual. I get something from you, you get something from me.
Yes.
Right? So my social circle began to expand or be a little more inclusive and much more intentional for those who are around me.
Yeah.
So not to lose sight of your question again,
No, it's all good.
but I believe it feels good because I see the quality of those around me elevating. And typically here, as we age, that actually gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yes, it does.
So to pick up new friends, it's great. It's reversed. You're supposed to lose friends as you get older.
Yes, you are.
I'm picking friends up, and they're quality friends.
Yeah.
Not quality in the sense of what they can offer me, but quality in the sense of what we're doing for one another.
Yes.
And it's not always of a tangible exchange. No. It could just be peace of mind because they offer something to you that makes you think and see things differently here.
Absolutely.
And I'm always open to having my paradigm shift. I'm always open to having my mind shifted. If you can keep doing that, you can keep growing as a person.
Absolutely.
So I like people who challenge me or expose me to things that I think I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so important, man. I mean, especially like if you live your life and have people that are always saying the same thing as you, always agreeing with you.
Echo chamber.
100%, right? You're not going to look at life from a different perspective. And I used to do that. I literally used to do that. Mm-hmm. And it caused me a lot of issues. I'd get into arguments and just a whole bunch of stupid stuff. And then eventually my mind shifted, mm-hmm. right? The why, everything shifted, right? Mm-hmm. And one thing that I like, it's hard and I'm practicing it, but is I follow Ryan Holiday, and it's a stoicism,
Okay.
right? And that's kind of like the phrase of the year for Brock, because there's something about when someone reacts to a situation, they go freaking crazy, right? And you're able to sit there, be cool, calm, and collective. It's a beautiful skill. I don't know. It's just amazing.
There's visuals added to this, but for those who don't know, I'm grinning.
Yes, you are.
I'm grinning. I'm smiling so much because the word stoic has been ingrained throughout my life this year as well.
Yes.
I'll be honest about where the word stoic came from, for me at least.
Yeah.
It came from one of the most hated, supposedly divisive men out there right now. And I'm not going to lie to you. I've learned a lot of things from him and had my paradigm not necessarily shift, but just learn a few things.
Andrew Tate?
Andrew Tate.
Let's go, buddy.
They get mad about him. But Andrew Tate said the word, and he's easily misquoted.
Yes, he is.
But when he first used the word, as I heard him using it, the idea of being stoic, the idea was being able to control your emotion.
Yes.
Control your emotion, because he who does not control his emotion, as he was saying in one of the sound bites, is the school shooter.
Yeah.
He's the one who shoots up a housing project. He's also the same one at 2 years old who was flailing about on aisle 2 because he couldn't get his cereal.
Yeah.
He couldn't control his emotion. And a man who cannot, and I say man, actually referring to adults, but let's just refer to men because we're man to man talking. A man who can't control his emotion is a dangerous man. He's a rapist.
Yes, he is.
Impulsively here, he must have his sexual needs met. So he takes it from a woman.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
He's also a school shooter because he's mad at the world. And he acts out. He lashes out. Like a 2-year-old who can't speak, they flail about physically.
Yes, they do.
You know, the same way when a grown man is having a complete meltdown. So when he said the idea of a man shouldn't be crying, he didn't say crying was bad. He said it should be at the right point in time.
Yes.
Which means you know when to hold yourself together, and now is the appropriate outlet for so.
Absolutely.
And that was, like I told you, the word stoic being so ingrained. So it's a natural, it's not natural. It's a, like you said a second ago for yourself, it's something that you're practicing in your life.
Yes.
I'm practicing the exact same thing in my life.
Yes.
The idea of trying to control my emotion,
Yeah.
even when I'm in different settings. But the wild thing about that stoicism, bro, is the fact that it's constantly challenged, because you can't replicate the environment that's going to evoke that emotion from you.
No.
I can't replicate that guy saying that really sideways, inappropriate racial slur to me.
No.
I can't prepare for that. So on a Monday morning, fresh out of the bed, boom, it's in my face. Hold yourself together, Ron. This
Yes.
is that word you talked about the other day.
Yes.
Stoicism.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's something that you have to live so these situational occurrences can come so you can practice it.
Absolutely.
And with time, I guess we get better.
100%. And then when you like there are times that you mess up, right? And you lash out and you act stupid or whatever. And it's like you recognize that, talk about it if you want, right? And then grow from it, right? And then the next time, hope you don't do the same. But yeah, it's practicing it is so hard, because it's like you don't understand what's going to be thrown at you, right? Do you get a lot of crap for understanding or looking at Tate's perspective?
So no one knows that until now.
Oh my gosh.
Where I
I'm
said,
so sorry.
hey, I actually watch and listen to, and I draw things from, and I'll tell you why. I don't want to throw my family under the bus. Let's just say people I know around me.
Yes.
Many of them understand what he's saying on a lot of things,
Yes.
right? Because they themselves have had to practice it and put it into motion. But if you have not had to practice it, or if you have not seen the successfulness of utilizing it that way, whatever that philosophy may be, you don't understand the value or importance of it. Yeah. So if you happen to be a married man, you happen to be a married woman, you happen to be a father, you happen to be someone trying to start an entrepreneurship, trying to be an entrepreneur, or leave corporate America to start your own business, whatever it may be here in life, or a single man looking for a wife, whatever, or a woman looking for a husband, whatever, because he bashes men heavy as well.
Absolutely.
Holds men accountable.
Absolutely.
If you, that's a lot of data, wouldn't it? If you actually have had to practice this in your own world, you can see the value of these things being said. If not, it's complete garbage and hogwash to you.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely, man. He's taken so out of context all the time. It's absolutely insane. And I mean that's just life on the internet, I guess, right? But I do appreciate someone like him speaking the way that he does because it allows people like us
have that dialogue,
right? Absolutely, man. It's so important. It's so important, and I've grown so much over these past few years from listening to Rogan, David Goggins, Andrew Tate, like just as a human being, right? Because like I said before, I was always on that one side. Like I mean, dude, I used to have CNN on 24/7, just like one side, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, both sides, whatever it is, but like you start to build this perspective that is skewed, right? And in life, we want to be able to look at both sides, everything, right? And even when you get into an argument with a person, like I just had a issue come up recently, and it's like I'm trying to look at their perspective, right? And sometimes you can find it, sometimes you can't, right? But that is life, right? At the end of the day, that is life.
Absolutely. I think, unfortunately, man, the one of the obvious downsides I find to social networks is the way the algorithm works. And the algorithm, for those who don't understand what an algorithm is it basically understands who you are based on your trend.
Yes.
So it predicts what it knows you might want.
Absolutely.
So let's just talk about the election we had 2 election cycles ago. I would come into a training session with the client, and I mentioned the most recent black death by a cop. And they're looking at me falling like I had 2 heads. But that was the biggest thing in my life at that point. Because all my channels, the algorithm was telling me that Black Ron Jones needed to know about this. So me, my wife, my dad, my mom are all watching this Black Death, Black Death, Black Death. So when I come to hear this debate, you better talk to me about Black Death and police killings and how you're going to fix it. Because it was the biggest thing coming to me. So the echo chamber of my algorithm kept giving me this. Like, this was the biggest, most pressing thing in my world.
Yes.
So now when I met this well-meaning client whose algorithm didn't show her that, her algorithm instead showed her border patrol issues. So she's looking at me like, what are you talking about, Ron? The southern border's a bigger issue. And I'm like, what? I might get shot on the way home.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So now we have this dissension happen that shouldn't be there. Yeah. Because I think she's downplaying the issues of my life and then vice versa.
Yes.
So now I think you don't respect my issues and you don't think I respect your issues. So now we're not being friends anymore. Yeah. But lo and behold, we have way more in common of mutual concern than we realized. But because I was on my algorithm, my social network, it told me that this was my world.
Yes, it did.
And it didn't show me any of hers.
It's so crazy.
And
man.
the internet really got us bad when we ought to go to our own homes.
Yes.
So when COVID hit and we all went to our own homes and had our own echo chambers magnified,
yes,
it, I think to a degree, really helped to drive more wedges.
100%, man. 100%.
Because we're all in our own echo chamber.
Dude, it's so crazy because like doing this podcast, right? I've talked to so many different people. And I've realized that we're so much more alike than we are different. But if you go on the internet, it will say that you are different, we're all different, right? And it's a shame that this happens to people. But I think things like podcasts, right, are really helping change that, right? Yeah. Because having a long form debate, right, a discussion, right, about really important topics, not little 5-minute clips that you get on the like 3-minute, whatever the heck it is. Yeah. It's changing the game. Like recently, RFK Jr. went on Joe Rogan, right, and he was speaking about vaccines and all this, and you understood his perspective, regardless if you agree with it or not, right? Way better in a 3-hour conversation compared to a 1-minute clip that you're going to hear on news networks or whatever else, right? And that, for me, I don't know if it's a saving grace, but it's definitely helping us out a lot.
Yeah, it absolutely is, man. I really think it is a ton. I think everyone is justified in where they currently are at, by and large, because of their life's experiences.
Yes.
And that arrived you to the point you are on why you see things this way.
Yeah.
But like you said a second ago, in that long form and you hear someone talking, now I understand why you feel that way.
Absolutely.
And now I see you're actually not a bad person. Your experiences and your exposure is why you are where you are now.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
100%.
And who would have thought that I'm this closely connected to this guy over here who I thought was actually opposing me?
Yes.
He's not different than me.
No.
We got the same concern. He has children. He has a wife also. That guy actually isn't a woman hater. He has his own daughter.
Yes.
And his fear is that his daughter can't support her own self when she gets to a certain point in life.
Yeah.
So he actually is a true ally to a woman who's fighting for women's rights.
It's crazy, man.
Because he wants to make sure his wife can survive if he dies.
Yeah.
And he has real concerns for it. And he actually really, really, really doesn't like certain things because he's seen that side of it.
Yeah.
He's been in the locker room and heard the way men actually talk. And so he talks he talks really frank about certain things because he knows the impending doom and danger more so than you do, ma'am.
Absolutely.
As a quick example of, a hot topic, the idea of, women's rights. You know what I mean?
100%.
But that's how it really does. I think you're right. These long form conversations let us see that this person actually, while I may not agree with him, he's thought out.
100%. 100%. I mean, I think that it's so important to be able to look at other people's perspective. Do you think there's any hope changing?
The only hope I think that comes is when we are stripped of certain luxuries.
Yes.
Because many of these luxuries I think are actually our demise. So I'm not trying to call a blessing a curse, but some things that are blessing to others can be interpreted or misused and be a curse for some.
Yeah.
So the information age is a blessing for someone like myself because when I was doing research papers, I was using an actual card catalog, real Dewey Decimal System. You know what I mean?
Crazy, dude.
Like really looking up books, trying to find this book, to find this paragraph, to properly cite it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the information age was tremendous to me because now I can just simply punch in the phrase and it comes up.
Yeah.
And it shows in the MLA format to cite it. So it's a blessing to me. However, to some, it's crippling and an actual curse.
Yeah.
And it makes them even lazier
Yes.
about the process. You know what I mean?
100%.
As a quick example. So unfortunately here, many of the accoutrements that we have, let's just speak specifically to America as an example, because we all live here, right? Or we're
Yes.
here now. Some of these luxuries that we have to be not necessarily taken away forcibly, but downplayed and probably taken away
Yeah.
for us to resort back to where we should be at more so.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned earlier, medicalization. So like the idea of big pharma. When you medicalize something, I think you really take the power away from the person who's dealing with it. So if I tell you you have a fat gene, an obesity gene, an alcoholic gene within you, you now feel okay to be an alcoholic because you couldn't help it. It was already clandestine. It was already written out.
Excuse.
It was already there. So why try,
Yeah.
right? Don't get me wrong. You are predisposed to it, but you don't have to fall a victim to it.
No, you don't.
But if I can tell you, oh, him don't know no better. Him needs some additional help. Him need a pill.
Yeah.
And I can coddle you. You'll play into that.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will.
You know, if I can medicalize it, you can say that now.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a pedophile. This guy's a pedophile. He can't help it. It's in his genes.
I know. What do they call it now? Oh man. There's a new word for pedophile.
You know,
it's
but
weird,
you're trying to
dude.
medicalize this.
Yes.
Once you medicalize this, the issue is that now it's no longer his issue. He couldn't help it.
Yeah.
So how do you punish him for this?
Absolutely.
How do you punish a man for something that he couldn't help? That's like punishing me for having high blood pressure.
It's crazy.
How? I couldn't help it. It was genetically there. That's what you're telling me.
100%.
So we can't medicalize everything, or you're going to strip away the reasons to try and beat it like you did with your MS.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, I totally agree with you. And it's society as a whole. I mean, we'll see what happens at the end of the day, right? We will see what happens. But on the other side, right, on the lighter note, like it's shit, man, living in today's society. Imagine if we grew up in like the 1400s, bro.
Oh, man.
Dude.
Like we said earlier, going from the East Coast to West Coast in a wagon's way different
100%.
than a locomotive or a Prius that's driving for us.
Absolutely. That's a freaking fact, bro.
Oh, man.
As we start to wrap this up, right?
Okay.
Like when you take your own life and you look deep inside, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your legacy to be?
What I think it is now when I deal with someone properly and I usher them into this health and wellness space properly, I do truthfully believe that God told me that I'm supposed to be helping people into a space that's really going to help them out, making it palatable, taking the science and making it whereby you can easily digest this. So now you'll go along with it. So when I empower you with this and give you those small successes or show you how to get those small successes, people tell me off top how much better they feel. So I think what I want to be remembered for when I'm no longer physically here like this is the fact that I made you feel good. You know, I don't ever want to walk away from someone and have them feeling bad about themselves.
Yeah.
Even when I was in college lifting weights to chase chicks.
Yes.
I was never with the chick that I was not, let's say something happened because adults do adult things, right?
Yes.
Adults do adult things. I don't want to walk out and her feel bad about herself.
Exactly.
Relationships can be mutualistic. We can
100%.
both agree and appreciate it like this. I don't want you to feel bad about yourself at the end of this, as an explicit example earlier on in life, right?
Yeah.
The same thing now as we get older in life. I want to know that when I left you as you were, or better.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be someone who's remembered as parasitic.
Yeah.
I left you drained. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So when I'm gone from this earth, I hope the earth remembers that I actually made it better. Or at least I didn't work against it.
Absolutely. No, it's so true, man. And you are. And it definitely shows. Are you happy at this point with everything that you've been able to do?
I am. I'm super happy. And the wild thing is I've always lived my life knowing that I need to always take stock in what's going on. I say stock like a warehouse. You got to occasionally turn to warehouse shelves and mark down what you got.
Yeah.
We got 50 cans of peas, 50 cans of carrots, 50, celeries of stock, stalks of celery. Take account for what you got. And I thank God that my family has always done that. So I naturally wake up and think oftentimes about how good things are. So when I was younger, making next to nothing, I was happy about what I was making, because it was more than what I was making the day before, or the week before, or the year before.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I'm happy that I'm still able to be present of mind to constantly take stock in where my life is at.
Yeah.
And that's why I think my life is made rich, not just of a tangible monetary sense, but in some way, shape, form, or fashion, I'm trying to find why this year is better than it was last year. Be it my health, be it the successfulness of my kids by way of them completing school, my parents being proud of me, or perhaps my own pockets or bank account growing.
Yes.
In some way, I'm constantly taking stock on why things are better. And that's what keeps me happy. The wild thing about it, though, is I can see how it's going to improve even more. And I call that icing. I got what I need, and this is great, and I'm happy with what's happening here. But icing is on top of what's already good.
Yes.
Cake is good by itself.
Yes.
But when you put ice on it, it gets even better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I see these things that are coming, and I can see it right there.
Wow.
Icing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It feels good.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah, I definitely, to give a short answer, I'm happy
I love
and
that,
ambitious.
man.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that, man. And dude, you are such a nice, humble human being, and I appreciate you so much once again for allowing me in your awesome room here in Las Vegas. First time meeting you, you're a great man, and next time you come to LA, we're gonna go out.
For sure.
Where can people find your stuff, bro?
Okay, I'm Big Ron Jones across the board.
Big Ron.
Big Ron Jones on every platform. So
right.
be it YouTube, you want some free workouts. If it's Facebook, you want to interact a little more because I'm always on there. If it's Instagram, if it's TikTok, I'm Big Ron Jones on all those major platforms. Please follow, like, share, tell a friend. If you don't feel like you know something, tell it to someone else who might need to know something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, man.
For sure, man. Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a good night. Peace.
All right. Peace.
Boom.